As a car reviewer, some weeks at work are just better than others, and this is one of the good ones. This is the 2025 version of the Toyota GR Yaris. This is the Gen 2 version of the car, pricing about 45 grand on one of these. And whilst you might have had your socks blown off and you may have fallen off your chair at that price, remember, this is not just a hot hatch. This is a rally car. If you're not aware, manufacturers have to produce a certain number of what's called homologation cars before they can enter a car into certain rally championships. That's what Toyota did with this. They just then didn't go ahead and rally it, interestingly enough. But this is a thoroughbred racing machine. Okay, so yes, we're looking at price levels of things like Civic Type R, something like the i20N looks like amazing value next to this, Golf GTI. All those kind of cars are in the mix for your money and all offer great levels of performance, but this is a rally car, it's a thoroughbred. 1.6 litre 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. That might sound weird to have a 3-cylinder in this kind of car, but I think it is the most powerful 3-cylinder engine currently in a production car. 276 brake horsepower, 390 newton meters of torque. This one's got the 8-speed automatic transmission. That's been breathed on by Toyota GR Racing. And basically they've taken a torque converter, which doesn't seem like a natural thing to go in a performance car. Usually if you get an auto in this kind of thing, it will be a dual clutch setup. But they've breathed on it heavily, done some very clever stuff. They've shrunk the size down of it. And actually it gives you wonderful progress. Probably, despite the manual version of this car having an absolutely fantastic manual gearbox, probably for most drivers, they'll actually make faster progress in the automatic version, simply because it's clever. 142 mile an hour top speed in this, 0 to 62 in 5.1 seconds. That top speed is electronically limited. And then boot space is 174 litres, which is a bit of a, you know, you can put your helmet and your race suit in there maybe, but not much else. And the WLTP MPG figure is 32. Now, I've been driving this car for a few days now, and I have to say, it does encourage you to get to speed briskly, and it does reward you a little bit sort of sonically and through the wheel and everything else if you don't drive in a particularly economical fashion. Sorry, losing my voice. So I've had 23 mpg in the real world. It's had a few styling changes for this Gen 2 version. The front bumper's now split into 3 sections for easier and cheaper replacement after damage. It's got enlarged brake cooling ducts, so that helps you for more aggressive venting basically. So it will get more and more cool air into those brakes, meaning they'll last a bit longer on the track for you. It's got a new metal radiator cover to basically protect your radiator. And then round the back, we've got an updated diffuser to give you a bit more airflow and downforce. And the rear light cluster has been moved higher for a bit more protection and better visibility. I think it looks a lot nicer where it is now as well than on the Gen 1 version. Also, just want to point out the roof. That is carbon fibre. Part of having a homologation car is that key components of the car have to be the same to the final rally car. So carbon fibre roof, nice. As standard, the car comes with 18-inch BBS alloys, and of course we've got Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tyres on there, which means it's nice and sticky in the bends. So that GR4 system can be tailored to your individual tastes. We've got a few new drive modes. You've got normal, which gives you a 60-40 torque split, gravel, which gives you 53-47 torque split, track, which is variable, that can go from 30 to 70 to 50-50. So if you are a serious driver, you can really make the most of this car and this chassis. Should be also mentioned that the body rigidity's been increased, and there are 132% more spot welds for improved steering and stiffness. 132% more spot welds, that's detail. So the boot space in this is a teeny tiny 174 litres. Underneath here lives some tyre jollop and the car battery, which is quite a nice place to put it actually, saves a bit of space in the front. But this is obviously not a load carrying car. This is all about performance. And if you can fit some basic essentials in here for day-to-day use, then great, and absolutely you can. So in the front cabin, there are a couple of things you might notice if you've previously driven the Gen 1 version of this car. And that's that this instrument cluster, instrument binnacle, dashboard, whatever you want to call it, sits a little bit lower. It's about 50mm lower than the outgoing version. And that's just to give you a bit more visibility. Also, you don't have the wing mirror right in your face as you did in the old version. And you're sitting 25mm lower. And that just gives you a better all-round driving position. You feel like you're ready to race in this thing now, and you're not obstructed by, you know, anything really. And it gives you maximum visibility through what is a relatively small windscreen. In terms of the rest of the design, it's a bit of a sort of 90s tuner throwback in here. And I like it, actually. The materials are really materials. There's nothing too much you can say about them. They're just fairly hard plastics. And what might have been a nice touch is if these were all wrapped in, I don't know, some sort of ropey velvet to give it that sort of 90s race car feel. But it's completely fine. And indeed, everything in here is very much function over form. So we've got proper knobs for the aircon. We've got a little colour infotainment screen here, which is bang average really. The Toyota system has improved a lot from the old one, but it's a small, fairly low res screen. We have got wireless Apple CarPlay, which is nice, and that's probably what most people are going to use. But in fact, the Toyota system itself is good. So in a pinch, I would certainly be happy enough using that. And then you've got a really nice driver information display. That feels fantastic, actually. And when you go into the different modes, what you're seeing there will change up. You've got things like your turbo pressure, oil temperature, obviously your gear, your speed, all that kind of stuff. And it all makes a lot of sense, particularly if you are a bit of a track meister. You've got a drive mode switch here. And then here's the GR4 mode. So you've got push for track mode, normal, gravel, everything's there. Everything's where you want it to be. You've also got a proper handbrake. And if you pull that handbrake on, it will actually disconnect the rear axle, which means you can do some proper rally handbrake turns. Not that I've tried it in this, honest Toyota. One thing that is a bit naff is that we've got two USB-Cs, one up here and one down here. But there's nowhere obvious to put your phone apart from this little shelf up here. But that shelf is hard plastic, doesn't have anything grippy on it. And if you are driving enthusiastically, you may find your phone becoming weaponized and flying through the air at speed. So perhaps another solution for that might have been a good idea. But this car is very much track machine first, road car second. And then I must just mention these glorious bucket seats that just grip you all over, have loads of padding, and this lovely Alcantara material. Everything about them feels special, and everything about them suits this car down to a T. As for the rear seat space, that driver's seat is in my normal position, and that's how much legroom you've got. So I'm not even going to get in there to do the rear seat review. But those seats really are for emergency use only, or maybe for very young kids, although getting them in and out of a car seat is going to be difficult. But it's not that kind of car, is it? Folks, one thing I forgot to mention in the interior section of this review was the reversing camera, the quality of the reversing camera, or the lack thereof. It's been an issue in Toyota cars for a little while, but the reversing camera looks like it was made by Fisher-Price. The quality of the image is just so shockingly bad. It's like PlayStation 1 video rendering, but it's actually a camera. So I've got no idea why they haven't upgraded that, because it must cost like £2 to come up with a better camera than the one they've got. And it is shockingly bad. Anyway, minor issue really. Reversing camera on a Yaris is not exactly an essential, is it? As you would expect for something like this, it's got a very, very hard ride. You're low to the ground. It's got this wide track set up. not particularly high profile tyres. It's not built for comfort, this thing. It's built for going around corners at speed, and a lot of speed. I've been in much more uncomfortable cars than this that are actually not even performance cars or very low level performance cars, but do be aware that this is not one of those wolf in sheep's clothing kind of things. It does feel like a very much a performance car. It feels like a track car when you get inside. They have done a bit more acoustic damping than in the outgoing model, and particularly with the glass, but you still get a lot of road noise and a lot of engine noise. And I wouldn't have it any other way, because in a car like this, you want that feedback. You want to hear it. This is not a car where you want to go along with the radio on. This is a car where you want to listen to the turbo spooling up and the dump valve or the wastegate or whatever it is releasing. It's a wonderful soundtrack, even though the engine note's nothing amazing. You know, it's a 1.63 cylinder, but it still sounds great. And by the way, I'm leaving all the bings and bongs on in this video, as I always do in my videos, so you can see how annoying they may or may not be. I nearly said that, didn't I? May or may not be in the real world, if you decide not to turn them off every time you get in the car, which of course is also an option. So I'm just driving along in eco mode at the moment, and it's perfectly fine. Still in eco mode, if you press the squirt button, it will get you down the road very, very quickly. But the real fun in this car is when you go into sport mode. That's where the dials change into a more kind of track friendly appearance. You've got all the driving data on there you could ever really need. And oh, it just feels lovely. Even when you're driving this car slowly, the steering's so nicely weighted. I mean, some people will find the steering heavy, but if you're used to performance cars, it's so nicely weighted. It's absolutely perfect, in my opinion. Like, absolutely perfect. And it just means that even when driving in completely normal situation around town, it still feels great. It still feels engaging. You don't have that disconnect that you get in some modern cars where they just feel a bit numb. You're very much aware that you're in control of a beast. Everything about the drive is very direct. I think that's the best word to say. You're absolutely in no doubt which way the wheels are pointing. You're absolutely in no doubt about when you're really in the torque, when you're absolutely where you want the revs to be. You can feel everything, you can predict everything. And it all feels great. Now, I'm not going to get on it in this video because I'm on public roads, and this is not a car that you can really get the most out of on public roads. It's really not. This car is built for the track. I would quite honestly give a testy to take this out on a track for a day. So if you're watching Toyota, let's make that happen, shall we? I'd love you to make that happen. Even this automatic version, you know, a lot of people will poo-poo it because it's an auto. For me, it's a godsend because due to some musculoskeletal issues, I find it absolute murder to drive a manual car these days. So for me, it's a godsend because it means I get to drive a car like this when I otherwise probably wouldn't anymore. And I think it's glorious. I had my doubts when I found out this was a torque converter gearbox. I really had my doubts. I thought this was going to be an absolutely brilliant dual clutch system in this car. An 8-speed torque converter to me just said, it just felt wrong. But what they've done with it is superb. You wouldn't know it's not dual clutch. You really wouldn't. And Toyota know how to put together a rock solid, reliable gearbox. You know, let's thank God that they didn't put a CVT in it, as they often do with their cars. But, you know, this is very much a thoroughbred race car. and the people that worked on this and that worked on this gearbox are thoroughbred race engineers, and they've done a fantastic job. As I said at the start of the video, for most untalented folk out there, they're going to be able to make quicker progress with this auto than they would with the manual, because it's simply more cleverer than you are, and faster at changing gears than you are, unless you're a heel and toe master. I've got a cyclist in front of me at the moment, and on theme with the video, he's chosen his Power Ranger costume for the day to be in Toyota race colours, so that's good of him, isn't it? He's got a decent 0 to 60 time as well. I also want to mention the brakes. I mean, I haven't had the chance to properly stretch the legs on this car at all, and I've probably only been at seriously 20% of what the car can do, even in my most enthusiastic moments with it. But the brake pedal has got the most amazing feel. Like, it's so well engineered. And that may sound like a bit of fluff, but really it's not. There are so many cars now where the brake feels gone. It feels like nothing, and then suddenly you're throwing the anchor out the window, or it's an on-off switch, you know, it's just you press it and you stop. This is so nicely weighted. The feel of it is absolutely spot on. I'll go so far as to say I don't think I've ever had a more enjoyable braking experience. Tells you something about a car when the one I'm in's done 3,000 miles. Obviously this is a press car, and in each new brake pads I can hear the squeal. That tells you a little bit about the ladies and gentlemen of the UK media and how much they've enjoyed this car, I think. 3,300 miles. As you might expect from a car that's got bags of performance but only a 3-cylinder engine, you do get like a fraction of a second of turbo lag when you first plant your foot, but that quickly goes away and you seem to find yourself in the sweet spot of the power band very, very quickly, and you then seem to stay there forever. It just never goes away. It just wants to go, this car. Oh, honestly, it's just a superb piece of engineering. It's an amazing thing to drive. If you're in any way in two minds about whether you should get one, don't even test drive, just get one. It's amazing. The only downside about this thing, and I mean the only downside about this thing, if you want a small performance car, is the price. And the price seems absolutely daft and ludicrous. 45 grand. I mean, there's two special editions of the car that you can get for 60 grand. £60,000. And 45 grand for a Yaris, you know, people would laugh at you, they'd scream at you. There's not too much out there in the same price bracket that will give you this level of smiles, this level of engagement. You can get loads of faster cars for this much money, but do they give you that kind of driving engagement? Have they got the soul of this thing? Oh, almost makes me want to cry. You can really sum this car up in one word, and that's epic. Everything about it is epic, even the price, in fact. It's just a wonderful thing. It's so clever, it's so much fun, and it's so good to see a brand like Toyota, which in recent times has been painfully sensible at times, doing something bonkers. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's easy to think of Toyota, and particularly the Yaris, in sort of garden centre terms, in Murray Mints and Werther's Original terms. Massively reliable, obviously we know that. They offer fantastic warranties, all the rest of it. There are loads of brilliant reasons to buy a Toyota, but they used to be a rally thoroughbred. they used to be exciting. They used to have these tuner cars. They offered something for the enthusiast as well as the sensible people. And I think it's great that they've done this, and it might be a last hurrah for this kind of thing. But if it is, what a way to go. It's lovely. If you'd like to look at the leasing prices on a Toyota Yaris or indeed on a GR Yaris, click the link to Lease Loco in the video description, and there's a QR code popping up on your screen, and have a look what's around. It doesn't hurt and it helps support the channel. The other thing that helps support the channel are thumbs up and subscriptions. If you like this style of review video, it's how I tend to do them, nice and unprofessional, nice and honest, and hopefully you get something from it that you perhaps don't get from some of the others out there. Thanks ever so much for watching, folks. I'll see you on the next one. Huge thanks to all my channel members for your continued support. I really do appreciate it.